Hello everyone, I'm Rick Neuheisel, and welcome to Varsity Days. Here at the Pac-12 Network, our historians have unearthed rare films of a bygone era. Films that tell the fantastic history that has made the Pac-12 the Conference of Champions. The year, 1975. Saturday Night Live made its debut on NBC. The Jack Nicholson classic, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, won the Oscar for Best Picture. And in college basketball, UCLA's John Wooden capped off his illustrious coaching career by winning his 10th national championship. On the gridiron, 1975 was also a season of change for the Pac-8, as UCLA's Dick Vermeil and USC's John McKay would both leave their schools for NFL coaching opportunities. In our upcoming film, The Pac-8, Spirit of 76, we'll see both a review of the 75 season and a preview of 1976. Now let's join our host, Bill Flemming.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Flemming, welcoming you to the Pac-8 Football Spirit of 76, brought to you by Frigidaire, the Home Environment Division of General Motors. Frigidaire is very happy and proud to be bringing you Pac-8 football once again this year, and they're also happy for bringing you 58 years of quality products for your home. During this next 30 minutes, you're going to be seeing the stars of 75 in action, and we'll be taking a look ahead to those players who in 1976 will be making the headlines in the Pac-8 Conference. So stay with us now, won't you, for the Pac-8 Football Spirit of 76. This is how the 1975 Pacific 8 football season ended and how the 1976 season began at the Rose Bowl as UCLA upset #1 ranked Ohio State, knocking the Buckeyes out of the national championship. There were numerous Pac-8 stars in 75, and now we salute those who were the seniors, beginning with John Shara, the versatile UCLA quarterback. Shara kept the Bruins' veer attack smooth and balanced. He finished his four-year college career with more than 4,000 yards rushing and passing. At the end of the 1975 season, he was named the consensus All-America quarterback and was also honored by both the NCAA and the National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame for his outstanding combination of academic and athletic achievement. Cliff Frazier, the mammoth nose guard, keyed UCLA's defense, which improved so rapidly during the season. A theater arts major who played the piano, Frazier also played a mean tune on opposing ball carriers. His quickness and agility made him a big play threat on defense every time. One of the nation's finest defensive backs roamed the Oregon football field. His name was Mario Clark, the Ducks' senior cornerback, who clung to receivers like he was their Siamese twin. And he could run with the ball after he caught it, too. Another fine defensive back was Stanford's Gerald Wilson, one of the Cards' most consistent performers. He twice was named Pacific 8 Player of the Week, performing brilliantly against Michigan and Washington. Washington State's big play guy was defensive end Mark Husflone, number 90. His 3 fumble recoveries enabled the Cougars to upset Kansas early in the season. A dangerous threat on defense was Danny Reese, Southern California cornerback. Reese was a deadly tackler and stole 18 passes during his career. He became the nation's second leading punt returner in '75 with runbacks like this one against Purdue. Oregon State's linebacker Bob Horn, number 43, was a savage tackler who kept opposing runners in fear of the Beavers' defensive middle. Al Burleson made big plays all year, and it was his safety blitzes which triggered Washington's upset of Southern California. He also contributed a 93-yard interception return against Washington State. Perhaps the most versatile player in the nation was Chuck Bunsey of California, a consensus All-American running back and the runner-up in the Heisman Trophy voting. He could do just about everything: catch passes, run with power, run with grace. He combined power with speed, strength with balance. Bunsey had it all. He averaged 132 yards rushing and also ranked 4th in the conference in pass receptions. At 6'3", 228 pounds, he was bigger than 90% of opposing linebackers. And with his 4.5 speed, he was often the fastest player on the field. He threw 3 passes all year, and 2 were for touchdowns. The opposite of Bunsey at California was wide receiver Steve Rivera. At 6 feet even and 180 pounds, his size didn't terrorize opponents. He had no blazing speed, but he had hands and heart. He concluded his career as the PAC-8's 3rd-ranked pass receiver of all time. It's the Steve Riveras of college football that the PAC-8 salutes, those seniors who worked so hard and so long to achieve victory. There were some departing coaches who deserve PAC-8 salutes too. Dee Andrus, the great pumpkin of Oregon State, left the coaching field after 11 years to become the Beavers' athletic director. At Washington State, Jim Sweeney resigned after 8 years with the Cougars. The Cinderella story of 1975 was Dick Vermeil of UCLA, who in his 2nd season with the Bruins won a share of the PAC-8 title and a Rose Bowl victory over Ohio State. Vermeil left to become the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. And John McKay became head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after winning 4 national championships at USC. One of McKay's assistants, Craig Fertig, became the head coach at Oregon State. And a former assistant, John Robinson, replaced him at USC. A legend has left an indelible mark on the PAC-8.
Every time I receive something, every time I talk to the media about something or I get little thoughts in my head, I just think about how much more work I have to do in order to become that person I want to become.
Marquise Lee, hello Enzo.
Each year, I feel as if I need to improve. Therefore, I can't allow it to get to my head. No matter how much publicity I get, I feel as if I still got things to work on in order to maintain or achieve that goal that I'm looking for. We got that situation where numerous amount of tests on the same week, or assignments got to get turned in. You got football practice, studying your playbook, watching film. School and being an athlete can be stressful, but I mean, I appreciate being here. I thank God that the fact I'm here. I never thought I'd actually be here. And just the fact of me being here, I'm just going to take advantage of it. Meet new people, talk to everybody, make sure I create a great relationship with everybody. Marquise Lee, USC Trojans, fight on.
And now a look at the returning stars of the PAC-8 Conference. At California, Coach Mike White is blessed with numerous returning standouts, including Joe Roth, the PAC-8's leading passer in 1975. He came out of the junior college ranks to replace departed Steve Bartkowski. All Roth did was lead the Bears to a share of their first conference title since 1958 and to the national total offense crown. His ability to set up quickly and throw all kinds of passes perplexed Bear opponents to no end. Number 99 was worn by speed demon Wesley Walker. He was California's deep threat. Walker caught 9 touchdown passes and led the country in yards per catch. In fact, every time he grabbed a pass, he averaged an amazing 23.3 yards. His blazing speed was of such caliber that he anchored the Bears sprint relay team to second place in the NCAA track meet last spring. California's top returning defender is number 88, linebacker Phil Heck. Beset by injuries his first 2 years at Cal, Heck really came into his own in 1975. He led a Bear defense, which ranked second in the PAC 8 in scoring yield. The new Washington State coach, Jackie Sherrill, is pleased to start his Cougar coaching career with Dan Dornick on his side. Despite missing 3 games with injuries, Dornick ranked 4th among the PAC 8 runners. Another outstanding Washington State player is Gavin Hedrick, who ranked 4th in the nation with his 45-yard punting average. At Oregon, Coach Don Reed will have quarterback Jack Henderson for 2 more years. Henderson completed more passes in 1975 than any other returning passer in the nation. He threw for almost 1,500 yards. Also returning is Greg Bauer, Henderson's favorite target in 1975. Bauer caught 52 passes last year to rank among the nation's top 10 receivers. He's only 5'9", but he certainly makes up his lack of size by being able to catch the ball in a crowd. George Bennett, a junior last year, was Oregon's workhorse. Bennett bowled for 805 yards rushing, accounting for 2/3 of the Ducks' entire team rushing totals. At Southern California, Gary Jeter returns as a formidable part of the Trojans' defensive line. Incredibly quick, Jeter harassed runners in their own backfield and knocked down an astounding 8 passes at the line of scrimmage during the season. Randy Simlin was USC's only sophomore starter last year, and he became the Trojans' leading pass receiver. He grabbed 23 passes during the season, including this beauty against Oregon. The big man for Southern California once again in '76 will be Ricky Bell. Before leaving for Tampa, Trojan coach John McKay had this to say about him.
I think that Ricky will go down, as he completes his career, which will be next year, as one of the great backs in SC's history, because he has tremendous physical strength. As the game goes on, he endures longer and longer. He gets stronger and stronger. And there's very few people that are as fast as him, that size. I would really compare him more, if I could compare him to one of the greatest running backs of all time also, besides Simpson, is Jimmy Brown.
Ricky Bell was simply phenomenal in 1975. He led the nation in rushing and missed by 6 scant yards of breaking the single-season NCAA record by Ed Marinero of Cornell. He would have broken that record easily had not 4 runs totaling 195 yards been nullified by penalty. In all, he gained 1,875 yards rushing, nearly 300 more than anybody else in the country. Despite carrying the ball 32 times per game, he averaged better than 5 yards per carry, and he never lost his cool.
For the last 10 years, there have been a lot of great runners here at USC. Guys like John Arnett, Mike Garrett, O.J., and Anthony Davis. And I knew there would be some pretty big shoes to fill playing behind guys like those. But the thing I wanted to do was to play the best Ricky Bell could play and not think of those guys. People put pressure on me talking about guys like that. But I just tried to stay to myself and tell Ricky Bell to play the best he could possibly play.
Ricky Bell was a marked target all year, drawing heavy enemy concentration. But he kept rambling, gaining an amazing 52% of USC's total offense with his running. And then in the Liberty Bowl, Bell took this screen pass against Texas A&M and roared 73 yards for a touchdown, leading the Trojans to a 20-0 victory in John McKay's final collegiate game.
I'm Bria Russ from Long Beach, California, and I'm a sophomore. I did court volleyball, so I'm just bringing court attributes onto the sand. The biggest difference for me between sand and indoor was probably passing technique and hitting technique because of the approach jump. I used to broad jump in indoor, and out here I just have to stand and jump straight up. I think it's honestly an amazing workout because the sand holds you down, and so when you have to run and sprint, you just feel it all in your legs, and by the end of the day it's just exhausting, but you end up looking so good. I feel like this atmosphere is just so calming and relaxing, especially after classes when we come to practice. You get to feel the air, just the wind, and it's just like a fun experience. Honestly, you can't beat this.
Stanford coach Jack Christensen is blessed with one of the nation's leading receivers in Tony Hill. Hill caught 55 passes during the '75 season, gained more yards through pass receptions than any other PAC player, and turned 7 of those grabs into touchdowns. He appears destined to break all of Stanford's career passing receiving records at a school where the pass is a way of life. Hill was a super athlete in high school. He averaged 31 points in basketball, and once he struck out 18 batters in a 7-inning baseball game. Guy Benjamin was one of 2 fine quarterbacks at Stanford. Benjamin had the PAC-8's highest completion percentage and threw for more than 1,000 yards in 8 games. Mike Cordova started most of the season for the Cards and threw also for more than 1,000 yards, 1,300 to be exact. Cordova had a rifle arm, but he could also drop in that soft pass too. Stanford's defensive stalwart was Duncan McCall, number 77, at defensive tackle. He's the son of former Stanford All-American Dr. Bill McCall. Duncan made a name for himself as a first-team all-conference lineman. At Oregon State, Dennis Boyd, number 85, returns as a 4-year starter for the Beavers. Defensive back, Johnny Ray Jones, chosen the Beavers' outstanding rookie last season, also is back after intercepting passes in 4 different games in 1975. One of the reasons Washington coach Don James was PAC-8 Coach of the Year in '75 was Robin Earl, a pulverizing 250-pound fullback. Earl bulldozed for nearly 800 yards as the Huskies came within 1 field goal of the Rose Bowl. Earl's shadow may weigh as much as Scott Phillips, the Huskies' 160-pound wide receiver, who caught 33 passes in 1975. The transition from offense to defense didn't bother number 66, Charles Jackson, who averaged 12 tackles a game from his nose guard position. Wendell Tyler of UCLA was one of college football's most underrated runners in 1975 because he competed in the same conference with Ricky Bell and Chuck Muncie. But he gained 110 yards per game, and he had a better rushing average than either Bell or Muncie. He broke UCLA's season rushing record despite not starting the first 2 games of the season. He ran for more than 100 yards in 8 different games during his junior year. Complementing Tyler was Wally Henry, a junior flanker who saved his best performance of the season until the Rose Bowl. What a game he played there, and you'll be seeing it a little bit later on. And here's Dr. Death, Oscar Edwards. Edwards was one of the PAC-8's very best strong safeties, a sure tackler and a fine pass defender. Then there's Manu Tuisasopo, number 40, who started in the Rose Bowl game as a freshman. Well, that's a look at the returning stars. Now get set for the color and excitement of the PAC-8 football spirit of '76. There's nothing quite like the spectacle of college football. For the next few moments, let's enjoy what we call the PAC-8 football spirit of '76. But it's the big plays that bring the fans back for more PAC-8 football action. Fans who love to see the hard hitting of college football and the unusual play. And there was no bigger play than this amazing 78-yard touchdown pass in the final moments, which enabled Washington to gain a come-from-behind victory over Washington State. Can you believe it? When UCLA outlasted USC to win the PAC-8's berth in the Rose Bowl, the Bruin cheerleaders were ecstatic. The 1976 Rose Bowl. Number 1, Ohio State against a UCLA team that the Buckeyes had beaten by 3 touchdowns during the regular season. But the Bruin defense had improved immeasurably since October and indicated early that this was not to be a repeat. Ohio State's big and brutal defense proved impregnable in the first half, holding UCLA to just 9 yards rushing. The two teams traded field goals in the first half, with Ohio State scoring first with this 42-yarder off the foot of Tom Claiborne. UCLA's lack of offense worried Coach Dick Vermeil. But not for long. In the third quarter, John Shara found flanker Wally Henry open, and Henry darted 16 yards to the game's first touchdown. UCLA missed the conversion, but held a 9-3 lead after entering the game as a 15-point underdog. Twelve minutes later, Shara again spotted Henry free, fired a pass which Henry took the remaining 67 yards. Made it 16-3 for UCLA, and the Bruins were going wild. But Ohio State fought back. Pete Johnson rammed over from the 3 for a touchdown. That made it 16-10 with enough time remaining for anything to happen. Ohio State got the ball back with a first down at the Bruin 35. Cornelius Green threw, but UCLA's Barney Person picked it off and returned it 30 yards. With 3.5 minutes to play, Wendell Tyler broke the Buckeyes back with this beautiful 54-yard run, giving him 172 yards rushing for the day. This wrapped it up for the Bruins. An unbelievable upset of the #1 ranked team in the Rose Bowl for the second time in 10 years. As the final seconds ticked away, Buckeye coach Woody Hayes crossed the field to congratulate Dick Vermeil. So that's how 1976 joyously started in the PAC-8.
USC would go undefeated in conference play in 1976 and beat Michigan 14-6 in the Rose Bowl. The Trojans would finish the season ranked #2, only behind Pittsburgh in both national polls. We hope you've enjoyed our look back at the 1975 PAC-8 season. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time on Varsity Days.